The INFJ personality type is often referred to as the rarest of the 16 Myers-Briggs personality types. As deep thinkers and empaths, INFJs tend to navigate the world with a mix of compassion and conviction. Yet, many struggle with feeling misunderstood or overwhelmed by their own complex emotions and interactions with others. If you're an INFJ or suspect that you might be, this note is for you. We'll explore the key traits that make INFJs unique, the challenges they face, and how they can embrace their strengths while overcoming their struggles. This guide isn't just about surviving as an INFJ, it's about thriving. INFJs make up about 1 to 2% of the population, which can make them feel isolated or different from others. This rarity often makes INFJs feel like outsiders, especially because they have such a unique combination of traits: deep intuition, strong empathy, and a tendency to analyze the world with both logic and emotion. INFJs have a rich inner world, and often feel like others don't get them. This sense of being misunderstood can lead to frustration, loneliness, or even self-doubt. While they have a natural gift for connecting with others on a deep level, it's hard to find people who truly understand their depth of feeling and complexity of thought. INFJs are perfectionists at heart. Perfectionism is a hallmark trait of the INFJ personality, often rooted in their deep idealism and high standards for themselves and others. At their core, INFJs have a vision of how the world should be, whether it's in their personal lives, their work, or society as a whole. This desire for perfection drives them to continuously seek improvement in all areas of life, but it also presents significant challenges. INFJs are driven by a strong internal need to do things right. Whether it's a creative project, a relationship, or even a personal goal, INFJs want to ensure everything aligns with their high ideals. They hold themselves to rigorous standards of morality, integrity, and quality, which can make them incredibly hard workers, dedicated partners, and thoughtful individuals. This relentless pursuit of excellence, however, can sometimes cause INFJs to become overly critical of themselves. They often struggle with feelings of inadequacy if they don't meet their own high expectations, leading to a cycle of self-doubt and dissatisfaction. Even when they achieve success, they might downplay their accomplishments or focus on the small details that weren't perfect. The INFJ's perfectionism doesn't just apply to themselves, it often extends to others as well. INFJs tend to hold the people in their lives to similarly high standards. They seek meaningful, authentic relationships and can become frustrated when friends or partners don't meet their expectations for emotional depth, loyalty, or honesty. This can cause tension in relationships, as not everyone is capable of, or willing to, live up to the INFJ's idealized vision. The burden of these high standards can also affect their professional life. INFJs are detail-oriented and conscientious, which makes them excellent at their jobs. However, their perfectionism can lead to burnout, especially when they feel they are constantly falling short of perfection or are overwhelmed by their own unrealistic expectations. They may spend excessive time trying to perfect a task, even when it's already more than adequate. One of the darker sides of INFJ perfectionism is their fear of failure and criticism. Because they invest so much of themselves into everything they do, failure or criticism can feel deeply personal. They may avoid taking risks or trying new things if there's a chance they won't be able to meet their own high standards. This fear can stifle creativity and growth, as INFJs become paralyzed by the idea of not being good enough. This perfectionism also makes them extremely sensitive to external criticism. INFJs may take feedback too personally, interpreting it as a reflection of their worth rather than a helpful suggestion for improvement. They can become defensive or withdrawn in the face of criticism, which can limit their ability to grow and evolve. While perfectionism can drive INFJs to excel in many areas of life, it's essential for them to learn the importance of balance and self-compassion. INFJs need to realize that perfection is an illusion, and that striving for it can often lead to emotional exhaustion and dissatisfaction. Instead, they should focus on progress rather than perfection, allowing themselves room for mistakes and growth. Developing self-compassion is crucial for INFJs. They must learn to treat themselves with the same kindness and understanding that they readily offer others. By accepting their flaws and imperfections, they can release the burden of constantly trying to measure up to impossible standards. This shift in mindset not only alleviates stress, but also fosters a healthier relationship with themselves and those around them. Another important lesson for INFJs is learning to let go of control. Perfectionism often stems from a desire to control outcomes and ensure everything goes according to plan. However, life is inherently unpredictable, and things will inevitably fall short of the INFJ's idealized vision. Learning to embrace the imperfections and uncertainties of life can help INFJs release some of the pressure they place on themselves. By recognizing that imperfection is a natural part of the human experience, INFJs can start to live with more freedom and peace. They don't have to control every outcome, and they can begin to appreciate the beauty in imperfection, both in themselves and others. INFJs are known for their ability to sense and absorb the emotions of those around them. While this makes them excellent listeners and empathetic friends, it also means they can become emotionally drained very quickly. They often take on the burdens of others without realizing it, which can lead to emotional burnout. It's crucial for INFJs to develop healthy boundaries and recognize when they need to step back from others' emotions to protect their own mental health. Learning to say no and prioritizing self-care is a must for emotional balance. INFJs' strong need for purpose. INFJs are driven by a sense of purpose. They are always seeking meaning in their actions and relationships. This can make them incredibly passionate and motivated, but it can also leave them feeling lost or unfulfilled if they don't have a clear sense of direction. Without a strong sense of purpose, INFJs may feel disconnected from their true selves. They thrive in environments where they can contribute to something bigger than themselves, whether it's through meaningful work, activism, or deep, fulfilling relationships. One of the most well-known behaviors of INFJs is the door slam. This happens when an INFJ feels deeply hurt, betrayed, or misunderstood by someone they trusted. Instead of confronting the issue head-on, they may shut the person out completely, cutting ties and closing off emotionally. The door slam is a way for INFJs to protect themselves from further harm, but it's often misunderstood as cold or harsh. In reality, it's a defense mechanism born out of emotional overwhelm and self-preservation. The key for INFJs is to work on healthy communication and boundaries before they reach the breaking point. INFJs often struggle with vulnerability. Despite their deep desire for connection, they may find it hard to fully open up to others. This is partly because they fear being misunderstood, and partly because they are so used to carrying the emotional weight of others that they don't want to burden anyone with their own feelings. This reluctance to be vulnerable can lead to a sense of loneliness, even in relationships. INFJs need to realize that being open and honest about their own needs and emotions is not a sign of weakness. It's an essential part of building deep, authentic connections. The chameleon effect. INFJs adapting to their surroundings. INFJs are often described as social chameleons due to their ability to adapt and blend into various social environments. While this trait allows them to connect with a wide range of people, it can also come at a cost. The chameleon effect refers to the INFJ's tendency to change their behavior, attitudes, or even appearance depending on the people around them, often subconsciously, to create harmony and avoid conflict. Although this adaptability can be a strength in certain situations, it can also lead to confusion about their own identity and emotional exhaustion. One of the driving forces behind the INFJ's chameleon-like behavior is their deep desire for harmony. INFJs are highly attuned to the emotional atmosphere of any situation, and they instinctively adjust themselves to maintain peace. Whether in a group of extroverts where they become more talkative, or in a somber setting where they turn more introspective, INFJs will shapeshift to fit the needs of the environment. While this ability helps them avoid conflict and build rapport, it often comes at the expense of their own authenticity. Over time, INFJs may struggle with knowing who they truly are, as they spend so much energy becoming who others need them to be. INFJs are natural empaths, and one of their key traits is their ability to mirror the emotions of those around them. They can absorb the feelings and moods of others, which often makes them seem as though they are deeply in tune with people's needs. In this way, they can almost take on the emotional state of the people they're with, which enhances their ability to offer support and comfort. However, this emotional mirroring can lead to emotional overwhelm. When constantly tuning into other people's emotions, INFJs may find it difficult to differentiate between their own feelings and the feelings of others. This can result in emotional burnout, as they unconsciously take on burdens that aren't theirs to carry. One of the darker aspects of the chameleon effect is that INFJs may lose touch with their own identity over time. Constantly adapting to fit the needs of others can leave them questioning who they are at their core. They might find themselves unsure of their personal preferences, values, or even opinions, because they've spent so long adjusting to external influences. This lack of self-awareness can be unsettling for INFJs, who typically strive for depth and authenticity in their lives. They may reach a point where they feel as though they've worn so many masks that they no longer know which one is their true face. INFJs often feel an unspoken pressure to meet the emotional needs of everyone around them. Because of their intuitive understanding of others' feelings, they are often placed in the role of counselor or confidant. Over time, they may unconsciously adapt their personality to become whatever their friends, family, or colleagues need them to be in that moment. This adaptability can lead to emotional exhaustion, as INFJs try to fulfill multiple roles simultaneously. They may feel stretched too thin, constantly shifting between different versions of themselves depending on the company they keep. This pressure to be everything for everyone can lead to a deep sense of inner conflict, as INFJs struggle to maintain their own boundaries and needs while prioritizing those of others. In some cases, the chameleon effect can unintentionally lead INFJs into manipulative behavior. While their intentions are usually to create harmony, their ability to adapt and blend in can be perceived as manipulative, especially if they are unconsciously mirroring others to gain approval or avoid conflict. If an INFJ becomes overly reliant on this adaptive behavior, they may lose sight of their own values and integrity, acting in ways that are more about pleasing others than being true to themselves. Additionally, some INFJs may use their ability to read people and adapt as a form of control. By becoming what others need them to be, they can influence situations to avoid rejection or criticism. This can create a cycle of emotional manipulation, where the INFJ bends to others' expectations while losing their own sense of authenticity. At the heart of the chameleon effect is a deep-seated fear of rejection. INFJs often feel that if they show their true selves, they will be misunderstood, judged, or rejected. This fear drives them to adapt and change in order to be accepted by different social groups or individuals. While this coping mechanism may prevent immediate rejection, it often leaves INFJs feeling unseen and unappreciated for who they truly are. This constant fear of rejection can create a cycle of self-denial, where INFJs prioritize the feelings and expectations of others over their own needs. They may suppress their true thoughts and emotions to avoid rocking the boat, which ultimately leads to feelings of isolation and dissatisfaction. For INFJs, breaking free from the chameleon effect requires self-awareness and a commitment to authenticity. They must learn to set boundaries, not just with others, but with themselves. This means being mindful of when they are adapting to please others, and when they are staying true to their own values and identity. Learning to embrace their true self, even at the risk of rejection, is a key step in breaking this cycle. INFJs need to realize that they don't have to be everything for everyone, and that their worth is not dependent on how well they can adapt to others' needs. By practicing self-acceptance and asserting their own boundaries, INFJs can find a balance between empathy and authenticity, ultimately leading to more fulfilling and genuine relationships. Despite their deep desire for connection, INFJs need a significant amount of alone time to recharge. They can be very social when the situation calls for it, but too much social interaction can leave them feeling drained. Alone time is crucial for INFJs to process their emotions, reflect on their experiences, and reconnect with themselves. Without this time, they may become overwhelmed by the emotional energy they've absorbed from others. Perfectionism in relationships. INFJs have high standards for themselves, and this often carries over into their relationships. They want deep, meaningful connections and may become frustrated or disappointed when others don't live up to their expectations. This can create strain in relationships, as not everyone can meet the INFJ's idealistic vision of what a relationship should be. Learning to accept others as they are, with all their flaws and imperfections, is a key lesson for INFJs. It's important for them to understand that perfection is an illusion, and that true connection comes from accepting people as they are. Perhaps one of the most common experiences of INFJs is feeling misunderstood. Their deep, complex thoughts and emotions are difficult for many people to grasp, which can leave them feeling isolated or frustrated. Even those closest to them may struggle to understand the depth of their inner world. INFJs need to find people who truly understand and appreciate them for who they are. Surrounding themselves with empathetic, open-minded individuals can help them feel more understood and accepted. At their core, INFJs are driven by a desire to make the world a better place. They are often drawn to careers or causes that allow them to help others and contribute to the greater good. This sense of purpose is what fuels them and gives them meaning in life. However, INFJs need to be careful not to take on too much responsibility. They often feel a deep sense of obligation to fix the world's problems, but this can lead to burnout if they don't take time for themselves. If this note resonates with you, feel free to share your experiences in the comments below. Let's create a supportive community where INFJs can connect and learn from one another. You are not alone in your journey, and together, we can find balance and purpose.